What if your silence became more powerful than your love ever was? What if the day you stopped chasing was the day she started regretting? She didn't leave because you weren't enough. She left because she thought you wouldn't change. She thought she'd broken you, that you'd be stuck, spiraling, questioning your worth, begging for closure, scrolling through her posts at 2 a.m. She expected your breakdown. But here's the twist. Your breakdown is your breakthrough. She thought the story ended when she walked away. Nope. That was just the opening chapter of your transformation. You see, heartbreak isn't the villain. It's the mentor. It's the fire that burns everything fake to the ground and forces you to rebuild with stone. Stoicism isn't about being cold. It's about being unshakable. You don't scream. You don't plead. You don't argue. You observe. You adjust. And then you rise. You let her go. Not because you stopped caring, but because you started caring more about yourself. That's where your power comes from. Not from revenge, not from trying to win her back, but from becoming so locked in, so leveled up, that the old version of you couldn't even stand next to the man you're becoming. And here's the truth. The most painful thing you can do to someone who expected you to crumble is to glow up in complete silence, to detach, to disappear, not as a ghost, but as a god. While she's watching your story from the sidelines, you'll be too busy building a life that doesn't include her. She will regret it. She will remember you. But that's not your focus. Your focus is you, your healing, your peace, your glow up. This isn't about her anymore. It's about reclaiming your crown. And this is Stoic revenge. If you're done letting heartbreak define you, if you're ready to become the version of you she thought you'd never be, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I release what I cannot control. Number 1. Rock bottom is the beginning. You thought this was the end of you. The texts left unread, the silence after everything you gave, the slow realization that someone you once trusted, someone you let into your heart, moved on like none of it mattered. It stings. It breaks you in places you didn't know could break. But here's the truth. Pain is the birthplace of power. Most people avoid rock bottom like it's a death sentence. Stoics run toward it because they understand it's not the end. It's the beginning. It's the place where your illusions die and your real self is forged. Rock bottom strips away the masks, the distractions, the ego. It forces you to stop pretending everything's fine. It forces you to sit with your pain and look it in the eye. And when you stop running, when you stop hiding from the heartbreak, you'll hear something. Clarity. The noise quiets. The excuses fall apart. And what's left? You, alone, bruised but unbroken. This is the moment the world thinks you'll crumble. But this is also the moment you become dangerous. Because when you've got nothing left to lose, you start moving different. You stop begging for love, and you start demanding respect. You stop chasing people, and you start chasing discipline. You stop asking, why did she leave? And start asking, why did I ignore the signs? That shift, that's where your power lives. You don't rise from rock bottom by accident. You rise by choice. And the first choice you make is this. Never again will I betray myself just to keep someone else. That's a line in the sand. That's the beginning of the glow up. It's not flashy. It's not on social media. It's silent, stoic, ruthless in its focus. You build in the dark. No pity parties. No victim mindset. Just progress. Slow, painful, deliberate progress. Because when you build from rock bottom, every brick is earned. And when you rise again, you won't be the same man. You'll be untouchable. If you're done making pain your prison and ready to make it your purpose, comment below. My foundation is built from the fire. Number 2, she expected you to beg. She thought you'd come crawling back, that you'd blow up her phone, that you'd spiral into long texts at midnight, trying to explain your worth to someone who already decided to walk away. She expected desperation, because that's what most men do when they're broken. They plead, they chase, they shrink themselves to fit back into someone else's comfort zone. But you didn't. You didn't beg. You didn't explain. You didn't fight for a seat at a table where you were already being starved. And that silence, that stillness, that shook her more than any tear-stained apology ever could. Because here's the part they don't expect. When a man chooses dignity over desperation, when he lets go without drama, when he accepts the loss, owns the pain, and walks away with his head up, that's not weakness, that's control, that's emotional mastery. And for someone who expected to see you fall apart, that's terrifying. Your indifference becomes louder than your love ever was. You see, when she left, it wasn't just about you. It was about her belief that you wouldn't change, that you'd stay stuck in that same version of yourself, comfortable, predictable, easy to forget. But silence is evolution. No response is still a message. It says, I've already turned the page. It says, you don't get access to me anymore. It says, I'm not fighting for someone who didn't fight for me. And that hits different, because now she has to sit with her choice. No arguments to feed her ego. No emotional reaction to validate her importance. Just distance. Just the version of you she thought would stay broken, getting stronger every day. The one she thought she could leave behind, becoming a ghost she'll never stop thinking about. Your lack of reaction becomes your biggest flex, because the moment you stopped chasing was the moment you became the storm. And whether she admits it or not, she feels it. If you're done making decisions from a place of weakness, if you're ready to take back control, comment below. I master my emotions, they do not master me. Number 3. Detachment is power. You want to win, you learn to let go. Real power doesn't come from holding tighter, it comes from releasing what doesn't serve you. That's where Stoicism and dark psychology intersect. Emotional detachment isn't cold, it's not bitter, it's surgical. It's choosing peace over proving a point. It's choosing progress over pettiness. And once you master it, you become unreadable, unpredictable, and unstoppable. She expected you to fall apart, but instead you disconnected. Not because you stopped caring, but because you started protecting your energy. When you stop feeding someone your emotions, you starve their control. That's why detachment is terrifying. It takes away their favorite weapon, your reaction. Most men live in emotional chaos after heartbreak. They check the phone every 5 minutes. They stalk her socials. They look for meaning in every post, every story, every crumb of attention she throws out. But you're not most men. You're done being controlled by impulses. You're done reacting like a puppet every time she pulls a string. You're the one with the scissors now, and you're cutting the damn strings. Detachment doesn't mean you feel nothing, it means you feel everything, but you're no longer ruled by it. You observe the emotion, you honor it, then you let it pass like a storm. That's stoicism, that's strength, that's what makes you untouchable. Because a man who isn't controlled by desire, fear, or ego, that man can't be manipulated. And here's the truth that scares her. The version of you that loved her was soft, available, and emotionally open. The version of you now, he's focused, he's silent, he's dangerous, not because he wants revenge, but because he finally understands his worth. He doesn't need closure, he doesn't need validation, he doesn't even need to be remembered. He just moves forward, detached, unbothered, powerful. If you're done giving people the power to disturb your peace, comment below. My peace is not negotiable. Number 4. Discipline over emotion. You can't cry your way into a better life. You can't beg your way into self-respect. Emotions scream in the short term. Discipline builds in the long term. Every time you felt that urge to reach out to her, to stalk her profile, to drown your pain in distractions, you were standing at a crossroads. One path leads to comfort. The other leads to power. And every time you choose discipline over emotion, you build a new identity, one that doesn't flinch when life tries to test you. She thought you'd fall into a cycle, heartbreak, regret, sloppiness. Most men do. They numb the pain with alcohol, women, endless scrolling, anything to avoid sitting still, because stillness forces you to face your demons, but not you. You did the hard thing. You sat with the pain. You faced the silence. You made a decision. I will not be controlled by what I feel. I will be driven by what I choose. That's where discipline becomes your superpower. You start waking up earlier. You train harder. You read more. You cut out people who drain you. You stop explaining yourself. You create structure, routine, a personal code. You don't chase dopamine anymore. You chase growth. And what used to consume you slowly loses its grip, because you're not fighting emotion with more emotion. You're responding with order, with logic, with purpose. The glow up, it's not just physical, it's spiritual, mental, emotional. Your discipline becomes visible in your posture, in your decisions, in your presence. And that's what makes her notice, not the new haircut or the gym gains. It's that calm intensity, that silent confidence, that unwavering energy that says, I've been through hell and came back sharpened, not shattered. That's the man who can't be played. That's the man who becomes the storm. If you're done reacting to life and ready to start designing it, comment below. I choose structure over chaos. Number 5. Your absence will be loud. You don't need to yell. You don't need to explain. You don't need to prove anything. Just leave, fully, clean, cold. No halfway contact. No just checking in. No falling for the bait when she posts something to get a reaction. When you disappear without noise, without warning, without weakness, that silence becomes the loudest thing she hears. She was prepared for drama, for you to lash out, beg for closure, maybe even blow up her phone in a desperate last attempt. What she wasn't prepared for was nothing. No texts, no likes, no signs of life, just complete absence. And here's where the psychology flips. People don't regret what they lose. They regret what they can no longer access. When you remove your presence, your energy, your attention, you create a void, a silence that haunts. You don't have to block her. You don't have to play childish games. You just fall all the way back, quiet, stoic, focused, because you understand something most people don't. Being unavailable is the ultimate power move. Attention is currency. Your energy has value, and you're done giving it away for free to someone who couldn't appreciate it when it was right in front of them. Your absence will start to hit when her feed gets boring, when the likes don't feel the same, when the attention she chased doesn't fill the gap. Because deep down, she'll remember, you weren't like the rest. You had presence, you had depth, you had value. And now, she can't reach you. That's the revenge. Not through anger, through elevation. Distance creates doubt. It makes people question themselves. And when they can't figure out why you walked away so easily, they start rewriting the story in their heads. That's not your concern. You don't watch, you don't wait, you don't wonder, you vanish, and you let your absence speak every truth you never said. If you're done letting your presence be taken for granted, comment below. My silence speaks for me. Number 6, rebuild in silence. You want to shake the world, don't announce it. Just move different. While she's out there trying to prove she's over it, you're busy becoming a version of yourself that doesn't even care. And the key to that? Rebuilding in silence. No status updates. No cryptic posts. No half-naked selfies to show her what she lost. You're not performing. You're constructing, quietly, ruthlessly, alone. The world doesn't need to see your process. It will feel your results. The gym becomes your therapy. The books become your weapons. Your work becomes your obsession. And every rep, every page, every disciplined day you stack becomes another brick in your new foundation. Not to impress her, not to prove anything to anyone, but because you finally realized you were never broken, you were just distracted from your potential. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. It keeps people guessing. It keeps you focused. While she's checking to see if you're watching her stories, you're leveling up so far past her world that she won't recognize you when your paths cross again, if they ever do. Because now, you're not driven by her absence. You're driven by your mission. And here's what hits hardest. When she finally sees you again, whether in person, online, or just through a whisper from someone else, it won't be the body, the success, or the lifestyle that stings. It'll be your indifference. It'll be the way you smile like she never existed, the way you carry peace instead of pain. She'll realize she lost access to a man who rebuilt himself from the ashes, and this time left no doors open behind him. This is how Stoics rise, not with noise, not with show, but with silent, deliberate, unshakable growth. That's how you glow up. And that's how you never go back. If you're done building for attention and ready to build for purpose, comment below. My growth needs no audience. Number 7. Become a Stoic weapon. You don't need to swing back. You don't need to fight dirty. You become a weapon the moment you master yourself. Emotional control isn't about being numb. It's about becoming dangerous without saying a word. When you walk into a room and you're calm, focused, unreadable, that shakes people, especially the ones who expected you to fall apart. She remembers the version of you that reacted to everything, the one who over-explained, over-apologized, overextended. But that man doesn't live here anymore. Now you observe, you calculate, you respond only when necessary. That's the Stoic edge. You've traded the chaos of emotion for the clarity of control. And that control, that's power most people will never understand. See, the more emotionally detached you become from things you can't control, like her choices, her attention, her absence, the more you turn inward. And that's where transformation lives. You become obsessed with mastering your body, your mind, your time. You speak less, you listen more, you build without the need for applause. You don't look for validation, you move with purpose. Everything you do becomes intentional, tactical, lethal in its precision. This is what becoming a Stoic weapon looks like. You're calm, not because life is easy, but because you're trained for chaos. You've taken the pain, the betrayal, the loss, and you've forged it into discipline, into resilience, into edge. And that edge is something she'll feel long after you're gone. Because she knew the version of you who broke. Now she's hearing about the version of you who became untouchable. And no, you're not doing this for revenge. You're doing this because you refuse to be at the mercy of anyone or anything ever again. The next time someone gets access to you, it won't be because they begged. It'll be because they earned it. If you're done being reactive and ready to become unstoppable, comment below. I sharpen myself through stillness. Number 8. Attraction through indifference. The less you care, the more they crave your attention. That's the paradox. You think desire pulls people in, but it's detachment that makes them obsessed. When you stop needing someone, when your energy says, "I'm good either way," That's when they start to feel your absence like a weight. Because nothing is more attractive than someone who doesn't flinch when you walk away. She expected to live rent-free in your head, to be the center of your world long after she left. That's the ego trip most people chase. They want to feel irreplaceable. But indifference strips them of that fantasy. When you show no anger, no pain, no reaction, it hits deeper than any insult. Your calm says everything. It says, you no longer have access to my mind, my time, or my energy. And this is where dark psychology plays in your favor. People are drawn to mystery, to what they can't read or control. The moment you stopped caring, you shifted the dynamic. Now she's left wondering if she ever mattered at all. Did he move on? Was it real? Why doesn't he care? That loop becomes her prison. Meanwhile, you've already broken out of yours. But here's the key. Indifference must be real. It can't be forced. It has to come from peace, not pettiness. You're not ignoring her to hurt her. You're focused on yourself because you finally understand your value. That's where true confidence comes from. You don't need her. You don't need anyone to see your worth. You've already seen it yourself. That's the shift that changes everything. When a man pulls back and focuses on his mission, his glow becomes impossible to ignore. But by then, he doesn't care who's watching. And that indifference, that's what drives them crazy. Because they lost you the moment they thought they had you forever. If you're done proving your worth and ready to embody it, comment below, my detachment is my strength. Number 9, you are the prize now. She thought you'd be waiting, watching, hoping. She thought your value was tied to her attention. But now, you're not just healed, you've elevated. You're no longer the one chasing, you're the one being chased. Not because you played games, but because you finally realized you are the prize. This is the shift that flips everything. You stop auditioning for people who never deserved a seat at your table. You stop proving yourself. You stop accepting crumbs and calling it a feast. You know your worth now, and you're done discounting it for the sake of being liked or loved. She didn't see it when you gave everything. That's fine, because now the price of admission has gone way up, and she can't afford it. Being the prize isn't about ego, it's about standards. You hold yourself differently. You move with intention. You no longer react to breadcrumbs because you've got a full plate. The version of you that was always available, always explaining, always trying to fix things. He's gone, dead and buried. In his place stands a man who commands respect with presence alone. And here's the part that messes with her the most. You're glowing now, but you're not doing it to prove her wrong. You're doing it because proving yourself right feels better. Your confidence isn't loud, it's lethal. It walks into the room before you do. It speaks without words. And people feel it, especially the ones who once overlooked it. The moment you stopped seeking validation was the moment you became magnetic. You attract now, not because you're desperate, but because you're whole. And whole men are rare, scarce, valuable, desired. That's why she'll feel the regret. Not because you punished her, but because she watched you become everything she couldn't keep. If you're done chasing and ready to be chosen on your terms, comment below. I am the standard now. Number 10. Her regret is none of your business. You'll hear about it, maybe from a mutual friend, maybe from a message she sends when the silence gets too loud, maybe from the way she lingers on your story, hoping you'll notice. The regret. It creeps in slowly, quietly. But here's the truth. It doesn't matter anymore. Her regret is not your trophy. Her sadness isn't your validation. You've moved beyond needing that. You're not the same man she left. You've leveled up in every way, mentally, physically, emotionally. But the biggest glow up? That's internal. It's the moment you stopped letting her memory dictate your movement. When you realize that revenge is weak, but detachment is divine. Her regret is a storm she has to sit in alone. You don't dance in it. You don't respond to it. You don't even watch it. You keep walking. Because the moment you make her regret your reward, you give her power all over again. And that's not stoicism. That's dependency disguised as dominance. True strength is walking away, even when she crawls back. It's hearing that she misses you and not needing to hear it again. It's seeing the apology and feeling nothing, not anger, not desire, just peace. You don't need revenge when you've rebuilt a life that no longer makes space for what broke you. Let her regret. Let her remember. Let her wonder. But you're free. Free from the cycle. Free from the story. Free from the version of yourself that would have dropped everything just to be seen. You're not interested in being missed. You're focused on being fulfilled. And the man you've become, he knows that peace isn't found in someone else's remorse. It's found in finally, completely choosing yourself. If you're done living in the shadows of the past and ready to step into full power, comment below. Her regret is not my reward. My peace is. And if this hit different, you already know. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Welcome to Stoic Blessing. Your glow up isn't coming, it's already in motion.